Hello plant people, it's Nora the Leca Queen here. Today I have a few special friends that I have recently acquired. I've been shopping, I've been a little bit busy. I'm going to transition all of these plants from living in soil and going into Leca. I think there's about 7 or 8 plants. There was a sale on Instagram. Someone that I buy a lot of my rare Syngoniums from was having a sale and I could not resist. So I have some special babies here to show you. So before I started making this video, I took the plants out of the soil if they were in soil. Some of them came just in sphagnum moss and I put them in my special hydrogen peroxide solution. Now you can see how that looks so gorgeous. You can see the oxygen bubbles. It looks glorious. I'll show you the other one. Got my little acrylic stick here, and when I agitate that, I hope this translates on camera, you can see the bubbles that are coming from the hydrogen peroxide, just looking luscious. I'm not sure if this is a step that I've introduced to you guys before, but if it isn't, oops, my bad. I like to put some of my plants in a hydrogen peroxide, diluted hydrogen peroxide solution, just to sterilize the plant. So getting rid of as many bugs and bacteria as I can off of there before I do the repotting. So let's get straight into it. I'll introduce you to the plant, pot it up in Leca, and so we shall go. First up is this baby here. Look at her. That is my Syngonium Strawberry Ice. Some of you might remember from the video that I did a few weeks ago where I was showcasing my Syngoniums. I was not very happy with my strawberry ice, and well, I just went and got myself another one because sometimes, you know, you try and some plants just do not want to be happy. So I got myself another one. That is my Syngonium Strawberry Ice. This plant was sent to me in sphagnum moss and it's pretty clean. I think it was living in soil before. In fact, I know it was living in soil because I know the grower. It was living in soil. So she took it out of the soil, cleaned it out for me, put it in sphagnum moss to transport, which worked out really, really great because those roots were clean and all I had to do was put them in my hydrogen peroxide solution and away we go. I've got a pot for my plant and I'll just put Leca 1/3 of the way. That should about do it. I place that plant right on the top of that Leca, making sure it's nicely distributed, and I just fill that up with Leca. And that there is my strawberry ice. That is as much Leca as that pot can take. All the roots are covered and that makes me happy. I've got a little reservoir for that. So I've got my little labels that I made earlier, and just to make sure I don't get confused, I've got my label there, and that's my strawberry ice all labeled up. This is a confetti tricolor. Look at that gorgeous coloring on that little plant. It is so, so beautiful. You cannot find plants like this in a nursery. It's really, really difficult because they're not, I don't think they're as mass produced because a lot of them are still not in tissue culture for whatever reason. I don't know, don't quote me. But I think this is not a tissue culture one. I don't know, not that I care, I really don't. I'm not a tissue culture snob. But yeah, I got this from a specialist seller because I can't find it anywhere else. And I know that this lady does collect a lot of the rarer plants. And I know plants are becoming a lot more available now, but there's still some that you just cannot find when you just go into your local nursery. So that is one of those. So that goes into my little pot as well. And I'm gonna go a little bit higher with this pot. So it's quite a small plant and I don't want it to sit too low in the pot. So I go just slightly over that third, that magic number 3rd that I talk about. As long as the plant is at a good position, which is there, that's where I want it to be. And as you can see, those roots are lovely and they're spread out across that Leca, not bunched together. And I simply fill that up. Confetti tricolor. This is a Syngonium T24. And look, to be honest, I don't know why it's called T24. I haven't really looked into it. I didn't have the time to do it. Yeah, it's a T24. So goes the way of its friends and goes into Leca. Got my pot. My T24 roots nicely spread out and even, and I just fill that up. Reservoir, that's my T24, 24 label. This is my little Syngonium red spot tricolor. I do have a red spot, but this is a tricolor version. Ooh, I'm so looking forward to this one becoming a lot bigger. And look at those roots. They are so healthy. I've got a cute little nursery pot that I'm going to put my Syngonium tricolor in. It's so small, it's so pretty, and that's going to be its reservoir there. I really love this pot. It's a ceramic pot that doesn't have a hole, and my nursery pot sits right at the top. So that means it doesn't have direct access to the reservoir. So I am going to use a wick. That's my little wick over there. I will push this through my pot, my nursery pot, pull it out on the other side, and there we go. I will grab my Leca, fill the pot up to where I need it to be, and then, well, maybe not so much. I put some Leca in there and I make sure I pull up my wick. There we go. My wick is now lying on top of that Leca, so that Leca is always going to have access to the nutrient solution that's in the reservoir, because it's going to be wicked up through that wick and is going to make the rest of that Leca wet. I'll just put a little bit more Leca on the top because I need to. And I grab my little planty and put it right on the top there, and I just cover the rest of that with Leca. That is my label over there. That goes there, and when you pick that up, that is my little pot, and that will go in my little cash pot there, and it just looks beautiful. Look at that. Doesn't that just look amazing? I think this is a matcha sprinkles. It's a Syngonium matcha sprinkles. I could be wrong, people. Yeah, I might have them confused. I might just have to go back to the listings and make sure I've labeled each plant correctly. But I think that's a matcha sprinkles. I don't know. I could be wrong. But in it goes. Okay. There goes my matcha sprinkles. Roots all spread out. And backfill with Leca. Pull that up a little bit, just a little bit. And that looks absolutely beautiful. Got my reservoir there. That is my maybe matcha sprinkles. I'll let you know. There we go. And now I've got these other ones. I got these plants from a different seller, and I got a little surprise for you in there. There's a Hoya. I was so happy to find this Hoya. This is a Hoya Incrassata Moon Shadow. Look at that. Look at the variegation on those leaves. It is just to die for. It just looks absolutely glorious. That's what the root system looks like. This plant was actually living in soil. It came to me in soil, and I just took the soil off, and it's been soaking in my hydrogen peroxide solution, and it is ready to go into Leca. This is the reservoir that I'm going to use for this Hoya because I think they just go so well together. This plant will look gorgeous. Now, this reservoir is actually a lot higher up than the nursery pot. You can see it's over there. So my nursery pot will actually not be sitting, probably not be sitting in the nutrient solution. So it's probably going to be more like a Kratky setup where you're gonna have some, when I put the nursery pot there, it anchors on the lip of the nursery pot, and there'll be a little bit of space there. So during the times when my reservoir is not very full, I want the leca to still have contact with the nutrient solution. So I am going to put a wick in this nursery pot just to make sure that there's always contact between the nutrient solution and my leca and it is not getting dry. So it's just a simple wick and I just put it there and I'll get my leca and I'll lift my little wick a bit up. So I don't want the wick to be sat right at the bottom. I want to have leca and then the wick. Oh, come to mommy. There's easier ways of doing this, I know. There we go. So that wick is sat on top of the leca and not right at the bottom. So there we go. That is exactly what I wanted. I grab my plant, put it there and just fill that up with leca. I'm starting to perilously run out. You know this happens to me every time I'm potting multiple plants. I always end up not having enough leca to go around. Beautiful, beautiful. See, you've got my wicks. I've got my wicks there, they're just dangling there and that will dip into that nutrient solution. And that looks beautiful. I then have my name label. That's my Hoya Incrassata Moon Shadow. That goes there, and that is my beautiful, beautiful plant all potted up. Okay, the next plant, this is my next plant. This is it's another Syngonium. It's a Syngonium Pink Spot Marble. I've got a pink spot, but this one is a marble version. So those leaves are a little bit different to what the normal pink spot looks like. So I'm really hoping that once this plant takes off, we can actually see the difference between this and the normal pink spot. So yeah, we'll see. So it's been living in my hydrogen peroxide diluted solution for 24 hours, I think. And I have now run out of leca. I need to go and see if I can find some and I will be right back. Okay, I found some. I'm just gonna fill that up a third of the way with my leca. There we go. That is working. I'll grab my plant, just lay it nicely on there and just fill that up with leca. Grab my reservoir, and that is my Syngonium Pink Spot Marble. Righty-ho, that is all my plants potted up, and I've now got my nutrient solution, and in here I've got my special sauce, which is a mixture of my Clonix clone solution, my root zona, but I've done something a little bit differently with this one. I've actually added a silica in this nutrient solution as well. That's an additive, so I'll talk a little bit about that in later videos, but it is meant to help the plant become more robust. So, and I'm just obviously with this nutrient solution, it's not going more than a third of the way up because we don't want the nutrient solution to be touching those roots. And so I'm just sort of guesstimating where that is, largely because I am quite experienced in doing this now. But when I pick that up, you can see that that level is about there. So I'm not too worried about putting too much in there. So there. I kind of can just eyeball it and know. Because like I said, I've done this a fair few times at this point. So that one there. And let me see what's happening with my little red spot tricolor over there. And now that is a lovely, lovely reservoir. There you have it. My plants are now ready to live the Leca life. I'm going to put these in a lovely, bright, warm spot just to get those plants really settled into the Leca. And hopefully in a few months' time, I'll do another video showing you all my Syngoniums, including these. Now, if you haven't watched that video where I show you all my Syngoniums, watch this next one. I'll see you there.